Chapter 2. As his thoughts revolved around the princess, Prince Michael walked across the western garden, back towards the palace. He opened a thick oak door and entered a narrow hallway. Lit by torchlight, this corridor was usually used for servants to make their way around the castle without being seen. He soon came to a section of wall and pressed his palm against a single loose stone. The stone sank to the wall. A section of the wall slid to the right and into a hidden opening, leaving an entrance just wide enough for him to walk through. The passageway that had been revealed was too dark to see into, so the prince grabbed a torch from its place in the wall and walked down the stone-walled path. After a few minutes, he came to an iron-braced wooden door, opening it and stepping into his own bedroom. As he entered, he found a maid who was dusting his furniture and apparently made his bed as if it wasn't as messy as if he left it. She might have another good use. He walked up to her. She turned around and, feeling eyes on her, and jumped slightly. "Oh, God!" she gasped, but then smiled. "I didn't see you come in, Your Highness." "That's all right. I have something for you to do anyway." His expression was his usual one of stone. "Yes, Your Highness?" She looked up to him, being slightly shorter than him. "I want you to go to Princess Bailey and do as she says for the rest of her stay here." He sat at the small table which had been cleared of any dishes. "Your job will be to find out what she likes. What interests her? Then come back to me and tell me." She nodded. "Yes, Your Highness." So she was to be a spy. So be it. She left the prince's quarters and, shutting the door behind her, she walked down the hall, which by now had become dimly lit as the sun moved past its midday point. She came to the door of Princess Bailey's room, knocking softly and waiting for a response. "Enter," called the princess's soft but authoritative voice. The maid pushed the door open and quietly stepped inside. The princess sat on a couch, with her legs resting beside her, skimming through an old and tattered novel. She looked up to the young girl as she approached. "Can I help you?" She seemed much nicer than the prince and far more patient. No, but maybe I could help you." She was quiet for a moment, waiting for a response as the princess raised an eyebrow. "My master wants me to serve you for the rest of your visit." She looked to the floor. A habit formed with serving the slightly violent and very short-tempered prince. "That is, if you'll have me, princess." Princess Bailey looked at the girl. She seemed to be frightened. She frowned as she spoke. "You know it's rude to speak to someone without looking at them." The girl's wide, dark green eyes shot up to the princess. "I'm sorry, Your Highness." She smiled softly. "That's all right." Her smile soon faded. "But I'm afraid I have nothing for you to do. You would just follow me around all day until I leave in a few days." "It is what Prince Michael wants, Your Highness." "Very well. Please return to him and tell him I thank him for his gesture, but I have no use for you." She returned her attention to her book. "You were dismissed." The maid bowed before leaving the princess to her reading, quickly and quietly returning the prince. She sighed, still unsure what to do with her. "I suppose the company of another woman couldn't be too bad." After hearing the maid's report, Prince Michael nodded as he studied his own reflection in the full-length mirror. "I see." His eyes drifted away from his own face to the figure of the woman behind him. "Return to her. Tell her she has the free use of anything in my palace while she is my guest." The woman bowed her head. "Yes, Your Highness. Anything else?" "Nope. You are dismissed." She bowed once more before leaving her master to return to Princess Bailey. As she told the princess of the the prince's kindness. She finally closed the book with a quick movement of her wrist as she looked up to the other woman. That is very nice of him, but that still does not tell me what I'm to have you do for the next few days. Her icy blue irises met the maid's dark eyes. The maid seemed nervous, almost fearful, as she looked to her temporary mistress. She was silent, afraid to speak. I guess you're free to have me do as you see fit, Your Highness. The princess smiled faintly. You could just tell him that I have no use for you, that I have nothing for you to do that will be of any use. The maid avoided Princess Bailey's gaze, looking to the floor once more. Yes, Your Highness. She was worried about what the prince might do to her for not trying harder. Princess Bailey noticed the other woman's body language and became concerned, her smile fading. Is there something wrong? No, Princess. The maid forced a smile as their eyes met once more. She didn't want to tell the princess that her master would most likely portray this as her being disobedient and have her flogged. You can tell me. She was now genuinely worried about her. No. The false smile fell as she realized the princess wasn't buying it. It's nothing a princess should worry about, Your Highness. Now, if you... Excuse me? She turned to leave. Wait! The princess's tone was flat as her eyes narrowed slightly. She knew something was off and planned to find out what it was. The maid turned back to face her. Yes, Princess. It seems to me that all the servants in this place are terrified of Prince Michael. Her eyes scanned the woman's face, looking for any hints that this was true. She looked at Princess Bailey's face, but their eyes did not meet. She would definitely not be punished if she spoke a word to her of her master's short temper and violent nature. She let out a soft sigh. It really is nothing, Princess. Princess Bailey let out a breath through her nose. You know I could have you punished for lying to me, don't you? She never threatened a servant like that before, but maybe she could find out what she was trying to avoid talking about. She let out a small, defeated groan. All right, all right. She walked toward the princess as she motioned for her to sit down. If I tell Prince Michael that you don't need him, if you don't need me, he'll think I'm lying and just try to get out of work. She sat next to the princess as she spoke. I see. Her expression was still stern, but softened slightly. Princess Bailey, my master, is very violent. He likes to flog those who disobey him. Her eyes returned to the floor. She continued. Some of us have scars. This sent the princess over the edge. She was furious, her blue eyes once more igniting with anger toward the prince. How can someone so cruel become the heir to an entire kingdom? She asked, leaving the seat and facing the maid, who had gone silent. She sighed softly, calming herself. Stay by my side, and he won't harm you. I'll be sure of it. Can you really do that, Princess? You'll be leaving in a few days, then he will do as he pleases with me. Her frown deepened with that thought. What if I told the fool myself that I have no use for you? I don't know. Her expression remained the same. I suppose it's worth a try. She shrugged her slender shoulders. All right, but perhaps you would be safer with me and not at the mercy of his royal pain in my side. The maid gasped as her eyes grew even wider. Princess Bailey, you should not speak like that, especially toward the prince. He could have your tongue cut out or worse. The princess was unaffected by the threat and only smirked. My friend, I am the daughter of King Victor. Any harm to me would bring on a nasty war. I'm sure even your prince is intelligent enough to realize that. The maid looked to the floor once again. You were lucky, Princess. That may be true. She took back her place on the couch facing the maid. But if I were truly lucky, I would not be here. What do you mean, Princess? The maid finally let her eyes meet again as she lifted her head. I mean, I came here of my father's wishes and not of my own. Oh, I see. Yes, I'd much rather be in my own palace, even though this place is extravagant. She was quiet for a moment before a thought came to her head. Oh, I'm sorry, but I never got your name. Eliza, Your Highness. She smiled. Eliza. That's pretty. The princess's warm smile returned. Thank you, Your Highness. You're welcome. Then her smile faded as she left the couch. It seems to me that your prince rules with fear. I'm not afraid of him, and it angers him that I'll stand up to him. She looked to Eliza, who was still sitting down. Do you know where I might find him? Eliza thought for a moment. Well, it's almost time for lunch, so he should be in his bedroom. At least, that's where I left him. She slid off the couch, straightening her dress. Mari should be on her way there now. Then, we should leave now, shouldn't we? The princess walked toward the door. Please, allow me. Eliza quickly moved in front of the princess, pulling the thick wooden door open for her. Thank you, she smiled, stepping into the hallway. Eliza followed, shutting the door behind them. The two walked down the hall to Prince Michael's door. Eliza still felt a sense of dread as they approached this room, but still followed the princess, hoping she would keep her word on protecting her from her master's wrath. She let out a soft sigh as they stood at the entrance of the lion's den.